the manufacturer, World Health Organization, all are sort of warning against the overuse of ivermectin and saying there's sort of no data to prove it prevents or helps treat COVID-19. But here in India, it's a state protocol in at least 3 states. There is a blanket prescription for preventing COVID-19 and using ivermectin in Goa and Uttarakhand. In Tamil Nadu, I believe all COVID-19 patients, irrespective of symptoms, are going to be prescribed this. ICMR has also included it as a may-do. And I think sort of the crux of it is that unlike plasma, about which doctors were sort of divided even here in India and abroad, as far as ivermectin is concerned, you're finding really all doctors across the board, and I'm using that term loosely, but roughly all doctors, or a good majority, are prescribing it very, very soon after someone tests positive.
So this is just inexplicable to me. I'm quite active on Twitter, and this is the thing that I get trolled for a lot, speaking up against ivermectin. I don't know why it has people so energized and why there's so much conviction that it works. There have been no clinical trials that have shown that it works. There have been a number of clinical trials that show it doesn't work. At this stage, and what ivermectin is really a anti-parasitic drug. It's been around for a very long time. It's very effective at treating some things like scabies, like treating a condition called river blindness in Africa. It is not an antiviral. There is no reason to think it would work in COVID. When, again, during the early part of the pandemic, there was a lot of interest in repurposing existing drugs to treat COVID. And this was one of those drugs that people started looking at. And again, early on, it was reasonable to look at it and to trial it. But at this point, there's no evidence that it works. So I find it really inexplicable that Goa would say everybody will use ivermectin for prophylaxis. So that does seem way over the top. Now, there are side effects to these medications, and when you give a few patients medications, and if they have a condition like scabies that warrants medication, those side effects can be managed. When you give a medication on a population level, thousands and thousands of people, and in India, it could be millions of people, you will definitely have adverse outcomes that are simply not worth it because it wasn't doing you any good at all. So I would definitely say this is a bad idea. And I want to say one thing about Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is one of the states that dropped ivermectin from its guidelines. So I'm very proud. This is my home state, and I'm very proud they made this decision.
Again, what would you say to someone, Dr. Priya, who has recovered or felt better after taking ivermectin? I mean, I'm sure we don't know, and you're speaking to someone like that, who felt better after they took ivermectin after being infected with COVID-19. I mean, how do people wrap their heads around sort of this dichotomy?
So the one thing to keep in mind is that 90% of people who get COVID will recover, regardless of whether you take anything or not. So if 100% of people got COVID and they all took 100% of people who got COVID took ivermectin, 90% of them are going to feel better because of the natural history of the disease. So assuming that it was the ivermectin that made them feel better is kind of fallacious and a wrong conclusion.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there are sort of doctors and outfits putting out public service announcements calling for ivermectin to be a part of home care. How scary does that sound to you?
I think it's completely, it has absolutely no basis in science. And yes, it's oral. People are attracted to the fact that it's something that's oral, therefore can be taken at home. And again, in the grand scheme of things, on an individual basis, if you took 3 days of ivermectin or 5 days of ivermectin, it probably wouldn't do you too much harm. But when you give it to millions of people, there will definitely be adverse outcomes, primarily liver toxicity from these doses of ivermectin. So I would say it's a very bad idea.